Welcome back to the Game Changer Unlocked. Loving what you're watching? Don't miss a moment of the Game Changer Unlocked or any of your favorite Now Media TV shows, live or on demand, anytime, anywhere. Download the free Now Media TV app on Roku, iOS, or enjoy instant access with bilingual programming both in English and Spanish. Prefer to listen to the podcast version? You can go to Now Media TV website at www.nowmedia.tv. From business to breaking news to lifestyle to cultural, really anything in between, Now Media TV is streaming 24/7 and ready wherever you are. I'm back with Roberta Anding, one of the nation's top sports dietitians who's worked with elite athletes across football, baseball, collegiate sports. She kind of goes on and on and on. Her decades of experience in the clinical nutrition has given her a powerful perspective on how to fuel high-performance bodies. And we're going to kind of take a little turn into supplements and different aspects that are really popular today. You know, you studied how athletes' bodies change throughout a long season. What are some key things to watch for with their performance and how they kind of keep going?
Yeah, I think in the world of supplements, every single athlete I know takes supplements. It's more common than not. And I think you know that from your experience.
Absolutely.
It's more common than not. The question always is, do you need it to correct a deficiency? Sometimes you do. If you're a female athlete, you could be remarkably low in iron and just have unrelenting fatigue. You might use it for performance enhancement. And there are things that flat out work. And if we look at what works, probably at the top of that list is creatine. Creatine flat out works. And I wish some of the myths about creatine would go away, but they're out there. It is not a steroid. You're not going to become addicted to creatine, but it really does help that sprint type athlete, which to me is almost everybody. Whether it's basketball, you're going to have a sprint activity, certainly different parts of track and field. Every athlete in that arena would benefit from creatine.
You mentioned iron with female athletes. I know from personal experience in track and field, I can think of one young lady that was incredibly deficient, and her performances weren't great. We didn't really change training up. All we did was make sure we boosted her iron intake and vitamin D, and all of a sudden, she became a superhero.
Yeah, and that's honestly true. And for the really competitive athlete, and that's the world you and I both live in that really competitive athlete, if they see their performance drop, the first thing they think about is, I need to train harder. Let me go train more, rather than saying, I wonder if I would benefit from going and seeing a sports dietitian, going back to the team doc, and get an evaluation of my overall health.
Well, I mean, I think recovery, you'd mentioned it a little bit earlier, that recovery plays such a huge role in performance. And if you're not eating properly, you know, you're gonna have to supplement with something. Are there other supplements or other vitamins that you've seen that most people are deficient in?
Ones that stand out, and you mentioned it, vitamin D, and this is particularly true of athletes of color. If you have melanin in your skin, not just African American, you could be Pakistani, you could be Indian, you could be from the Dominican. Anybody who has a decent amount of melanin in their skin is not going to be able to synthesize vitamin D in their skin as effectively. And their food sources are poor. We don't have a lot of food sources, and so supplementation. And so it took me a while to get this into Rice University, but we started to test every freshman coming in for a vitamin D deficiency, and it was impressive, the level of deficiency. It was impressive. Yeah.
No, we did the same thing when I was at Virginia. The iron for all the females and D for all the males. And it was shocking to see the recovery piece, but then not even that, but the immune part, the sicknesses seemed to drop pretty substantially when we boosted all that up.
Yep, and I look at vitamin D as like the head coach. It tells every cell in your body what to do and how to behave. And so if you're deficient, you can have immunosuppression. If you're deficient, you can also have some atrophy of type 2 muscle fibers, meaning those explosive muscle fibers don't develop and maintain the same way that they would. So across all the performance perspective, vitamin D to me becomes a big one. And you don't know if you're deficient unless you have a blood test. You can't just say, I think I'm deficient, because vitamin D can be toxic. but I see more deficiencies than toxicities.
That makes complete sense. Now we're going to switch a little bit because it's become such a buzz topic, GLP-1.
Yeah.
Especially like Ozempic. You hear about Hollywood stars and you see these individuals that have these massive weight losses. You know, are there natural ways? I mean, we can talk about that, but then are there natural ways to kind of get the same results?
Well, and I think the culture that we live in extremes. So people will say, in order to lose weight, I need to go keto or paleo, or I need to go vegan. And both of those are the extreme, and you can certainly supplement around that. When we know what helps with weight management, there are some key factors here. One is fiber. And so if you look at fiber requirements being anywhere between about 25 and 30 grams per day, average American gets 10. And so what fiber does is it makes you feel full longer. And that's in essence what the heavy hitters, GLP-1 agonists, actually do. They make you feel full longer. They delay food leaving your stomach. So I can't say fiber is equal to those drugs, because those drugs for people who are really struggling with weight, maybe my height and 400 pounds, those drugs are lifesavers. But for the average person who might want to lose 10 or 15 pounds, those drugs are, in my mind, contraindicated. That's not the use of those drugs. So fiber and fluid do make a difference in terms of weight management.
Well, unfortunately, we live in a society where we want something at the snap of our fingers and not the long-term process of losing weight properly or even gaining weight properly is a different side of it. But you know, with that said, is there certain well-known supplements and so forth out there that probably should stay away from a standpoint of just they're not necessarily used typically for their intended purposes? Like you just said, GLP-1s. I mean, you see somebody that's pretty healthy, they just want to lose weight a little quicker. Are there some other ones out there that are...
And I'm smiling because in our world, I always think about, are you going to fail a drug test? Are you going to fail a drug test if you take this? And I think a lot of the weight loss supplements out there, fat burners, for example, things that actually jack up your metabolic rate, make you feel shaky and jittery and all of that, also can increase your blood pressure. So fat burners are on my no-go list just because of the side effects. I would also say supplements that would say that they can boost your lean body mass and you don't need to do anything. You and I both know if you're going to add muscle, you got to have adequate protein and you have to lift weights. There's no easy way around it. So I think in a category of this is a quick fix, the fat burners and the ones that increase lean body mass, those are two categories, A, that are more likely to cause you to fail a drug test, and B, not worth it. Not worth it.
Are there, I mean, I know there are, but I come from your perspective, kind of the labels on the supplement products. You know, if there's certain labels, does it help prevent for maybe a positive drug test or something that somebody that's younger that's looking out at a parent that's, hey, you should make sure the supplement says this on it?
Yes, and third-party certification is a big deal. And there are two major players in that space here in the United States. One is NSF, Nancy Sam Frank, NSF Certified for Sport, and the other one is Informed Sport. And the great news is for consumers, you can download free apps. NSF Certified for Sport has a free app, and so does Informed Sport. So you can go and take a look at your supplements, scan the barcode, and if it's not in that database, it means it's the Wild West. It may have active ingredient, it may not, but for all consumers, whether you're going to be drug tested or not, I want to know if a product I'm spending money on actually works and is it safe?
True.
I don't want to be taking something that is going to hurt me or has no active ingredient.
Would you say, I mean, Amazon's such a popular place to get products now, and people just go right there and they hear something and they order something. Is that something that you would caution some athletes to do too?
I would say be really careful, because you know this, in the world of making money, there are going to be charlatans that are going to take a label from a really good company and put it on their product, and it looks like it is the product, but it isn't. So if you go onto Amazon and let's say you're going to buy a creatine supplement, you want to make sure that the distributor of that creatine supplement is actually the manufacturer.
Yeah.
You don't want it to go through a third-party vendor. And so when you look at, I mean, I order supplements from
Sure.
Amazon. I mean, if I'm going to order calcium, I'm going to order it. But I know enough. The average consumer, I think it's really hard to be a supplement consumer in 2025 because the bad actors are finding new and different ways of taking your money.
I mean, I think the advice that you just gave about making sure that the individual takes from the manufacturer
Yes.
as opposed to, you know, whomever it is that might be selling it online,
Right.
because that can present some major problems.
And Amazon had realized that they had a little bit of a problem, so they're now requiring a certificate of analysis for products that are coming through. But in the interim, there are products on the market that shouldn't be on the market anymore. And again, there's this pass through. Can I get this through? Can I change the label a little bit and pass it through? And again, in my world, the things I lose sleep about are failed drug tests. My experience, and I'm only one person, but my experience is that the majority of positive drug tests that I've known about have come from dietary supplements. It's not someone sticking a needle in their behind.
Wow.
So that makes me really nervous because, again, there's supplements that flat out work. I mentioned creatine, you mentioned vitamin D, iron. These all work. I need to make sure that the consumer is protected against fraud, and that's a full-time job.
Do you see, one more question before we take a break. Do you see a rise in people taking supplements or a decline?
Rise. I think you knew the answer.
I kind of did.
It's like absolute rise because now we not only have vitamins and minerals and again the supplements that the International Olympic Committee say actually work. We've got those, but now we have a whole new category of should I take an NAD booster? Should I take a supplement IV versus by mouth? So we've got all these new industries that are out there.
Roberta, this is fascinating conversation. We will be right back after this break. More with Roberta Anding.